Your grandfather lived with less comfort, less therapy, less knowledge about mental health, and he was probably stronger than you. Stronger in his body, stronger in his will, stronger in his spine. Look around at the men your age. How many could walk into a forest alone for a week and come back okay? How many could fix their own house, their own car, their own life when everything falls apart? How many could protect anyone but themselves? How many would even try? That gap between you and him, that feeling you have that you're somehow smaller than the men who came before you. That wasn't an accident. It wasn't progress. It wasn't just bad luck or bad genetics. It was domestication. And if you're a woman watching this, and I know many of you are, you see it too. You look around and quietly ask the same question: where are the real men? Today, I'm going to tell you what happened to them and why it's not too late to become one of them again. Welcome to the first episode of this new series, The Domestication of Men. We're going to map how modern systems, schools, corporations, media, food, therapy culture, even the algorithm you're watching this on, all work together to turn hunters into house pets. But I need you to understand one thing right now. You weren't just conditioned to be nice. You were trained to be harmless. That's what domesticated means. The word comes from domus, Latin for home. It's what we do to wild animals so they can live safely in our houses. We don't want them too strong. We don't want them too unpredictable. We don't want them too free. So we trade their freedom for food, their danger for comfort, their bite for obedience. The same pattern has been applied to men. A wild man, a real man, is dangerous, not abusive, not cruel. Dangerous in the sense that he has power, options, and courage. He can say no. He can walk away. He can fight back. That kind of man is very hard to control, very hard to sell to, very hard to rule. So instead of raising lions, the modern world decided to raise house cats. A lion protects his territory. A house cat asks permission to go outside. A lion provides. A house cat waits by the bowl. A lion is a threat to anyone who wants to exploit him. A house cat is a pet. And a society full of pets, male and female, is a society that can be easily managed. That's the thesis of this series. Not, men used to be better, feel bad now. But, the environment has been designed to shrink you, and you've been cooperating without knowing. And here's where Stoicism comes in. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You didn't choose the domestication, but you are responsible for how you respond to it now. In this series, we're going to identify the leashes around your neck, and then we're going to remove them, one by one. Tonight is the map. The next episodes are the weapons. I want you to imagine a powerful animal, a wolf, a lion, a wild horse. How do you control something like that? You don't start with chains. You start with leashes, invisible ones at first. For modern men, there are three main leashes: the leash on your mind and spirit, the leash on your body and health, the leash on your life structure, how you work, love, and live. I'm going to show you each one briefly now, and in the next episodes, we're going to take them apart in detail. The first leash was your mind. Before they softened your body, they softened your beliefs. They taught you that strength is toxic, that leadership is controlling, that assertiveness is aggression, that protectiveness is patriarchy. They didn't have to chain your hands if they could chain your thoughts. Think about how boys are raised now. Sit still. Be quiet. Don't climb that. Don't wrestle. Don't compete too hard. Don't be too loud. Don't be too much. They medicate your energy. They pathologize your instincts. They turn raw drive into a disorder. By the time you're a man, you've learned one main lesson. Whatever I naturally am is probably wrong. So you become careful. You second-guess yourself. You outsource your judgments to experts, influencers, therapists, HR policies, algorithms. You stop trusting your own eyes, your own gut, your own conscience. They replaced backbone with approval-seeking, responsibility with feelings, virtue with vibes. Your grandfather didn't need a podcast to tell him to be a man. His life demanded it. Yours lets you avoid it. In episode 1, we're going to track exactly how this mental leash was built. From school to entertainment to therapy culture to social media. How they slowly trained lions to think like lapdogs. And how Stoic philosophy gives you a way to reclaim your own mind. The second leash was your body. Once your mind was softened, they went after your biology. They knew something simple. A tired, numb, inflamed man with low testosterone and no energy is not a threat to anyone. He's not starting revolutions. He's not building kingdoms. He's not even starting his own day properly. Your great-grandfather probably didn't talk about optimization. He just worked. He moved. He lifted. He repaired. He fought. He slept. He ate food his grandfather would recognize as food. You? You live in a world where most of what's advertised to you as food is a lab product, where more men know their favorite fast food menu than their own blood work. And then we call the fallout normal. Chronic fatigue, brain fog, depression, obesity, low libido, no drive. Just part of getting older, they say. No, it's part of being domesticated. Men today have significantly lower testosterone than men just a few decades ago. And we're not talking about 90-year-olds compared to 20-year-olds. We're talking about men the same age, generation to generation. Think about that. Same age, same species, different bodies. That is not just genetics, that is environment. In episode 2, we're going to go deep into this. How they turned warriors into comfort addicts. How they replaced real physical struggle with virtual stimulation. How they fed your cravings instead of your strength. And more importantly, how to start rebuilding a body that can actually carry the kind of life you say you want. The third leash is the cage around all of this, your life structure. Even if you fix your mind, even if you fix your body, if the architecture of your life is built on dependence, you will still feel like a pet. Look at how most men live. You trade your time for a paycheck you completely rely on. You rely on systems you don't control for food, water, safety, energy, community. If your job vanished tomorrow, how long could you stand on your own 2 feet? Your grandfather could probably fix his own roof. You call a guy. He grew some of his own food. You tap a screen and hope the supply chain holds. He had skills. You have subscriptions. This isn't about shaming you. This is about recognizing the design. A man with skills is dangerous. A man with options is dangerous. A man who can walk away is dangerous. So they raised generations of men who can't. Can't build, can't fight, can't repair, can't endure, can't lead, can't walk away. In episode 3, we're going to talk about this life cage. How work, Dating, entertainment, and the algorithm work together to keep you docile, entertained, and just comfortable enough not to revolt. And what it actually means, in modern life, to become undomesticated without running off into the woods. Now, I need to say this clearly. If all you get from this series is, the system domesticated me, poor me, then you've missed the point. Stoicism does not care where you were born, what time period you're in, who raised you, or what the algorithm did to your brain. It asks one brutal question. Given all of that, what are you going to do now? Epictetus was born a slave. He had every excuse to say, "Look what the system did to me." Instead, he said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Marcus Aurelius was emperor of the most powerful empire on earth. He lived surrounded by luxury, flattery, and comfort, more domestication traps than any modern man. He wrote to himself, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." This series is not a nostalgia project for the good old days. Your grandfather's world had its own problems, its own blindness, its own injustices. This is a call to build a new kind of man. A man who lives in the modern world, who uses modern tools, who understands the systems around him, but who is not owned by them. A man who chooses discipline in an age of indulgence, responsibility in an age of excuses, courage in an age of comfort. A man who is not a pet, even if he lives in a world that prefers pets. Over the next 3 episodes, we're going to walk through each leash. Your mind, your body, your life. We're going to name the traps, we're going to study the systems, and then we're going to build a stoic blueprint for becoming undomesticated from the inside out. You will not fix this in a week. You will not fix this by watching one video and nodding along, but you can start. And if you start, you become very difficult to control. In the next episode, we begin with the first leash, your mind and spirit. How school, media, and therapy culture rewired the way men see themselves, how they convinced lions to think like lapdogs, and how to reclaim your own thoughts, your own standards, your own judgment. If you don't want to be a pet anymore, that's where we start. Because they may have domesticated the world you live in, but they don't get the final say on the man you become. Subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell for the next episode. Thanks for being here with the Stoic Quotient, where ancient strength meets modern life.